and welcome to the Treehouse. This is Kag with the View from Above tarot reading for Wednesday, September 4th. This morning we are going to be using the Radiant Wise Spirit deck, and this is still my older deck. I have not quite broken in its replacement yet. This is a reading for the collective, so as always, take what resonates for you and leave the rest. I did do some deep shuffling before I started the video, so this is just the last little bit of shuffling before we get started. Yesterday's reading was about taking a risk, and so it would be interesting to know if that resonated with you. The comments are actually turned on for this reading, so if you did have a comment you would like to share, please feel free to do so. At least for right now, I'm leaving the comments on. Okay, let's do this one last shuffle. Again, it's for the collective, so if it doesn't resonate, don't worry about it. Don't pick it up if it isn't for you. Okay, so today is going to be a reflection reading. And here is the card for us today. Here is what needs to be integrated. Here's what's in our unconscious. The influences from the past, the conscious mind, and where the energy is pointing to if nothing changes. And Meriwether, of course. All right. This morning we had the Two of Swords. Now, yesterday we had a lot of twos. So it would seem that there is some deep intuitional cogitating going on here. She has blindfolded herself. We think that it was done intentionally so that she could hear her own feelings about something. She's prepared to defend herself. I don't know that I would want to take on a woman with two swords. The moon is looking like an eclipse moon, but it is actually a D moon. I'll have to talk about that in a separate video about how to know whether a moon is waxing or waning. And a D moon is waxing to the full as opposed to waning. So that is waxing to a full moon. When we have a new moon, it is the best time to begin new cycles. And so this speaks to me of starting a new cycle to get to the pinnacle or the full moon. It's how we start projects best, is to begin them at the beginning of the cycle of the new moon through to the full moon and then closing them down on the second half. Not to say that you're going to get all your projects done in 29 and a half days, but energy-wise, it's good to start new things after the new moon and to bring things to conclusion after the full moon. So she's thinking about things here, and it's interesting to me to think about all of the twos that were present in yesterday's reading. The integration point for today, the Five of Cups. There's a disappointment here. Something did not go the way that we had hoped that it would. And so we've got 3 cups here that have fallen over, and there's some kind of liquid on the ground. And he looks very sad about that, and it's a very dark card. Really different from yesterday's golden background. There are two cups that are still standing here, so all is not lost. But in this moment, we don't want to jump over feeling sad about something, because if we don't actually grieve whatever it is that we have lost, it will come back and get us later. So if there is something that you are grieving, and it doesn't have to be necessarily a huge disappointment, it can be a small disappointment, it's really best to get those feelings out. Get them out, and then pick up these 2 cards and go over the bridge and back to whatever it was that you were, wherever you were going when this occurred. So let's look at the unconscious today, and that is the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is an announcement, a blessing of clarity, of logic, of knowing the truth. This sword is straight up. We can see the tip. The hand of the Holy is holding it forth to us. It has punctured through the crown. And what that means is that there's been an old structure that this sword has punctured through. So something is brand new here. And we've got the the olive branch, I believe the olive branch is over here, and the laurel branch here. So we've got peace and we've got victory in whatever this piece of information is that you have received. You've also got the 6 yads of blessing that echoes the choice or the Lover's card that we saw yesterday. So something new has come up in your brain, our brain, some new way of understanding something, and that is what's in the unconscious. And maybe it is a result of having thought about it deeply, grieving some old thing and being ready to move on, because the tip of that sword has punctured its way through the crown of what was in place before. The past influences has to do with a loving cup, right? The knights are action, and this knight is coming in a very stately way to offer love, emotion, feelings in a positive way. He tends to be a little rose-colored glasses wearing fellow, and so he can sometimes think that things are going to be better than they actually are. And so when I look at this cup of disappointment, I wonder if we thought that this was going to be better than it actually turned out to be, and a little disappointment in that regard. This is either an offer that you made to somebody else or an offer that you received from somebody else, but it is one that had great feeling attached to it. But as I say, it could be a little over-romanticized position that you took about this offer that may be connected to this disappointment card here. The 5 cards are always cards of change also. No matter what suit they're in, that is another card of change and transformation. And when I see this in the unconscious, there's a realization here that causes this grief to say, yep, that it just isn't going to work the way that I perhaps wanted it to. In your conscious mind is strength, another card that we had yesterday. And remember, I used a different deck yesterday altogether. Strength is the woman taming the lion. And she's got her hands on his nose and underneath his jaw, and she does not look at all concerned about that. And the lion's tail is between his back legs, and he doesn't look like he's very upset either. So this is calm, this is strength, this is being in charge of your own sort of animalistic side, the anxiety perhaps, or the worry, or the desire to run ahead and change something. There is a balance here, and she has the lemniscate over her head, which is that eternal energy. She is calm, and she's got the ability to keep this lion calm. So that is what's on our conscious mind today, is how do we maintain that calmness in the face of this new information that we have realized, and whatever this is that we are grieving here. So the energy going forward has to do with whatever it is that we have planted. The 7 of Pentacles is a guy looking at what has been planted. Sometimes it's called the Plan B card, which means that he is considering ripping all that stuff up and starting over, or else he's just evaluating what it is that he has done. For me, this card is to just leave it alone card. That there's something in this horizontal movement that needs to be just left for the moment. He's contemplating what's growing in this garden. If we think about how the pentacles are split, he's got an ace here, and he's got the 6 of Pentacles here, the 7, right? The 6 of Pentacles has to do with the giving and receiving of help. Frequently, I've talked about it as making sure when you take help or you give help that you are aware of whether there are strings attached to that help. So this is the card of really considering what it is that has evolved this way, And as we look vertically, we're talking about a new realization regarding a decision that caused some grief, and the strength to just hold steady, echoed in the 7 card here. Hold steady, kind of leave it alone for a moment before you make any decisions. And that's what she's doing here. She's sitting here listening to her own intuition before she moves into the next place. So let's look at Merryweather. And we've got the 9 of Wands, sometimes called the Wounded Warrior card. This is a guy who has fought the good fight, and he has now erected all of these wands as boundaries to protect himself. And he's looking off to the side to say, is there any more coming? Is there anything else that I need to do here? And it looks like he's well prepared to defend himself, but it has also cost him something. You can see the bandage around his head. So he hasn't come through this battle unscathed, but he knows a lot more than he did before the battle happened. And I would say that this is connected to whatever this disappointment is. So energy-wise, we are looking at 1 wand, 2 cups, 2 swords, and 1 pentacle. So we have energy across the board. Wands being fire, cups being water, swords being air, and pentacles being earth. I don't think I've ever talked about that before, but those are the energies of the suits in terms of elements. And if you are following any of the astrology, the sign that you are is going to be attached to one of those suits. For example, I'm a Taurus, and Taurus is earth energy. So Pentacles tends to be a very strong suit for me when I do my own readings. So we have a 9, a 2, a 5, and a 7. So nothing consequential, or sequential, I should say, in that regard. So this is kind of a heavy reading. There has been something new that has come to mind, that there is some consideration about being patient before deciding what to do, and a direction to really look at what the disappointment has been. And when you're ready to pick up those cups and go across the bridge, I just want to call out the fact that in yesterday's reading, there was also the 4 of Wands, which is a card of stability and celebration, temporary celebration. But there is a bridge, and if you go back and look at that reading, there is a bridge in that card, and it is the same bridge that is in this card. And when we have a celebration, the happiness of that celebration is always connected to the sadness of when it's over or when things change, the 5 being a change card. So those 2 things may be connected from yesterday. It's going to really depend on what's going on in your life. And this reading may have absolutely nothing to do with what happened yesterday. So again, just let me caution you to take what resonates for you and leave the rest. Take good care of yourself. This is a card of being tired. We are at the end of the wands here when we're at a 9. And he does look like, after having fought this fight, he might be kind of tired. So be thoughtful about what you need as you figure out what this is that has made you sad or has really put you in a state of grief. Don't make any decisions yet. Consider what it is you have here. Know that you have some new wisdom, and just tame the wild self inside of you for right now. So I think this is the pause. This is a pause. Let's just hold steady. Don't do anything else right now. So that's what I have for you today. If this reading was helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. And I invite you to come back again tomorrow and join me at the treehouse for another view from above. Blessings.